The air at my sister's wedding carried that kind of still excitement that only comes before something big, before promises, before tears, before people start believing again in forever. The wooden arch draped in eucalyptus and white roses swayed gently in the Northern California breeze, the December sun pretending it still had work to do. Guests laughed and shuffled on the lawn, the DJ repeating every 15 minutes. 2 minutes till the processional, as if saying it often enough would make time listen. Even the empty photo booth clicked on its own, catching ghosts of joy that hadn't yet arrived. Then my 7-year-old daughter's small hand gripped mine so tight that my wedding ring bit into my skin. "Mom, we need to go, now. Not the whiny kind of now. Not the I want candy kind. The kind of now that makes your heart skip and your mind check doors and passports." I looked down at her, my little Lily, eyes wide but steady. "What happened?" I whispered, still counting tasks in my head. Boutonnieres, cake, gluten-free boxes, and Aunt Sue's endless list of allergies. But Lily wasn't looking at the wedding bustle. She was staring at the White House just beyond the arch. The porch rocking chair was moving slightly in the wind, like some invisible guest was rehearsing small talk. "In there," she said, her voice tight. "Your iPad. It's showing pictures." My stomach dropped. Pictures in our family meant not for kids. It meant the shared Apple ID forgot its manners again. I'd promised myself to separate accounts 100 times. It always lost to the daily chaos. Buy milk, check homework, fix the suit, survive PTA emails. We slipped quietly through the kitchen, past trays of mini tacos lined up like tiny optimists, past the pile of car seats and thanks for coming bags, and into the small office that served as our command center. On the desk, between emergency pins and a plan B for if it rained, it wouldn't. It was California pretending to be cozy. The iPad sat glowing. Blue message bubbles flashed across the top like warning lights. Sender, Darcy, my little sister. The bride, laughter, times, addresses, promises, and then a photo. Cropped faces, but the tattoo on the collarbone was too clear to mistake. A thin mountain range with one shaded peak. I'd traced that very line 12 years ago, the one living on my husband's skin. If this were a movie, music would rise and the camera would zoom in. But life doesn't rush for drama, it stretches. My smile froze. My stomach twisted. I placed my hand on Lily's head, breathing in her watermelon shampoo. "You did the right thing, sweetheart," I whispered. We practiced the breathing trick her school counselor taught us. In, hold, out, hold. Calm enough to stand. I locked the screen and slid the iPad into my tote bag, the one with the PTA pin still hanging from the zipper. "Stay here," I told her. "I'll knock 3 times. Don't open for anyone but me." She nodded and tucked herself into the chair like a little comma waiting for the next sentence. Then I went looking for Mark. My husband. My helper. The man who could fix the speaker but not his own conscience. He stood on the lawn in his dependable gray suit, pointing cousins toward the right rows, nodding at the DJ like everything depended on him. It always did. Mark thrived on being needed. It made him harder to look at now. "We need to talk," I said. He gave me that polite, strained smile. "Ellen, please, not now. It's her day." He always knew whose day it was, so he wouldn't have to face all the others he'd broken. I led him behind a line of boxwood hedges, away from cameras and laughter. "I have your messages with Darcy," I said, steady but shaking inside. "And the photos." He exhaled in that almost relieved way men do when they think they can explain something away. "It's a misunderstanding. You know how phones, how tech, these things mix up. Maybe old stuff popped up. We were just texting. 10 minutes ago?" I asked. "The photos from today. I see your tattoo. I'm not blind." A flicker of regret crossed his face. Too quick, too misplaced. "Ellen," he started, gentle voice, the one we once used for grocery lists and bedtime talks. "You know how hard it's been. Work, the kids, you're always exhausted. Darcy just supported me." "No," I cut in. "My exhaustion didn't send those messages." "You did." He checked his watch. 15 minutes to go, he murmured. "Please don't ruin her day. We're family, we're family. The phrase people use after breaking the rules and hoping the fall looks graceful. "I'm not making a scene," I said, "but Paul has to know." The groom was easy to find, steady, kind, trustworthy Paul, posing for last-minute photos near the garage. I asked for a moment. He followed me without question into a storage room filled with folding chairs and string lights. "I'm sorry," I said, handing him the iPad, "but you need to see this." He read slowly, like a man reading a contract that suddenly mattered too much. Then he closed his eyes and breathed. The ticking clock, maybe the rooms, maybe my ribs, filled the silence. "Thank you for telling me, Ellen," he said. "You did the right thing." "I'm not here to direct what happens next," I replied softly. "But I couldn't keep it from you." He nodded once. "I'll handle it. Take care of yourself and the kids." 5 minutes later, Paul stepped onto the porch holding the microphone. His voice was calm, too calm. "There will be no ceremony," he said. "We've decided not to move forward." The crowd fell apart quietly. Silk rustled. Heels came off. Gift envelopes clutched tighter. Someone whispered about refunds. The caterer leaned over. "What about the food?" Paul nodded. "The food stays." Aunt Sue asked if the pecans were safe. For the first time all day, I almost laughed. Darcy's sobs came next. Soft, confused, the kind that expect to be forgiven. She collapsed against me, mascara running. "Ellen, why would you do this?" "Why today?" "Because today you were getting married," I said. "Not Wednesday at 3, and you're not the only one in white here." Mark was gone, of course. He always vanished when the camera wasn't pointed at him. I found Lily where I left her, small and waiting. She looked up, voice barely a whisper. "Can we go home?" "Yes," I said. "You were brave. That's the whole story." The drive was quiet. The heavy kind of silence where the child draws hearts on the fogged window and the mother chooses which words are too sharp to say out loud. Lily traced one heart after another until they blurred into gray. "I didn't want to ruin it," she said. "You didn't," I told her. "You saved it. You saved us. At home, I did the thing I always do when the world tilts. I boiled water." The kettle's whistle steadied the room. Lily asked for cartoons, and I said yes. Sometimes the first step in healing a family is 22 minutes of bright colors. I wanted to cry. I wanted to call everyone. Instead, I washed already clean mugs again, letting the warm water keep my hands busy. I sort the silverware drawer like straight rows can clean a past. Mom called. "Ellen, honey, we're family. We can't do this, Darcy." "No, Mom," I said. "We're family when we don't pretend, and when hold on doesn't mean by the throat." She sighed. "In our line, a sigh can be a whole speech. The meaning doesn't change." Next morning was quiet. The house hadn't picked a mood yet. I made pancakes. Ritual covers cracks. The winter school calendar hung on the fridge. I realized we were building a new religion. Anything that fits in boxes survives. America builds divorce so that at some point you say, "Okay, we are not dying on this hill." We filed no fault. We sat with a mediator. We drafted a parenting plan. School days split. Holidays split. Christmas half and half. Thanksgiving alternating. Summer, 2 weeks you, 2 weeks me. The lawyer smiled like it was Tuesday. The mediator checked. We knew the difference between legal and physical custody. Paper smooth, sharp edges. "I don't need let's be calm." He told Mark I need predictability Tuesday, Wednesday with you. Thursday, Friday with me. Weekends alternate and the right of first refusal. If you can't watch them, you offer me the time before you call a sitter. Of course, he said, we're family. Family was now the sound of a spoon scraping a non-stick pan. Harsh, empty. The house had to be sorted like a flooded library. Boxes, garage, bathroom, kitchen. His vinyl, never played. A man who was everywhere and nowhere, somehow owned a mountain. A cycling helmet, expensive headphones, a grill kit with the lid still in plastic. Love for objects is like the sting after a shot. It shows up when the real hurt is already done. Lily drew hearts and lightning bolts on boxes. In her comic, a short-haired superhero carried a girl out of a fire. Don't read into it. 7-year-olds draw in straight lines. Jake hid behind Minecraft and headphones. Teen years knocked. I pretended not to hear. If you open that door, you stand there a long time. One night I found myself sorting screws and batteries in the junk drawer like neat piles could save what can't be split. Somehow, it still helped a little. Week 2, I booked the Apple store to split the accounts. Morning slot, fewer crowds, more smiles. Lily picked a dinosaur case and told the cashier just like that. My mom's iPad shows pictures it shouldn't. He coughed and treated it like, "Do you want a bag?" At the Genius bar, a very kind 20-some moved the contacts, unlinked the shared devices, turned off purchase sharing, explained family sharing versus a single login. 5 minutes, 2 years of my delay erased. All set, he said. Now everyone has their own memory. That word hit right. Memory. I walked out with a tiny bag. It felt like I was carrying new air. A week later, Paul texted. "Thank you," I answered the next day. "You're welcome." He asked if we could take the leftover food to a shelter. He already set it up. We went with the kids. The place smelled like cardboard, coffee, and something human that refuses to quit. Lily lined up tart shells like she was saving them from the trash. "How are you?" Paul asked when we were alone by the lemonade. "On a scale from..." "I'm fine, toast me again and I'll cry," I said. Hesmealed with one side of his mouth. "Let's go with holding on. We didn't become use against the world. We became two people who sometimes have coffee and leave the obvious unsaid." He sent a standard volunteer thank you email at the bottom in pen. "Keep going. No signature needed. School sent a packet. How to talk to kids about divorce. Free counseling links. A reading list." Lily borrowed a picture book about a boy with 2 homes, and one dog bouncing between them like a ping-pong ball. "Are we getting a dog?" she asked. "We are," I said. "A safe promise for my future self." Miss Carter, the school counselor, suggested play sessions, sand, tiny figures, sideways talk. Head-on cost kids too much. On day 1, Lily built Ace and house with 3 rooms. She put mom, girl, and boy on the steps. She set dad by the gate. "He comes by," she said, shrugged like a bookkeeper who balanced the books. She walked out with a certificate and a gold sticker. Honesty and care. I stuck it on the fridge next to gymnastics and my Sunday half-hour of quiet. Not realistic, but let it hang. Hope needs a hook. Jake said he was fine, then started sleeping in headphones. He'd eat pasta, mutter thanks, and ask if he could go to Dad's next weekend because he promised. "Yes," I said. My job was not to burn bridges. Nowings. Few bridges. Protect the ones we have. Darcy went quiet. Or not quiet, text quiet. The kind where I'm sorry. I don't know what came over me. It won't happen again. Shuffle like letter tiles, but the whole stays a whole. Mom tried diplomacy. "We're family," she said. "You're both my girls. We can't burn it all down. We can stop pouring gasoline," I said. She sighed. "Offered family therapy." I nodded. "The safe. Yes. That means we'll see." At night, I sorted forks like neat silver could clean a story. Mark sent long messages full of how could you and the kids. The little blue dot showed he waste typing, deleting, typing, deleting. Sometimes the best move is not putting up the net, so the game never starts. We planned a quiet Christmas. Pajamas, karaoke, sparkling apple cider, 3 movies by vote. The day before, Darcy stood on my porch with a box of cookies and the face that says, "Tell me it's fixable." Lily was at a sleepover, Jake in his room. The world politely stepped aside. She started. "I know," I said. Silence. Thick as syrup, sweet, heavy. "I was an idiot," she said. "He told me you two were basically that you were almost. I'm not making excuses. I don't know who I am. I could have dumped dates, receipts, GPS pins. I was tired of living inside evidence. I don't know who you are," I said. "I know who you were that day. And I know my daughter had Toby a grown-up because your romance ran through our Apple ID." She looked down. "I'll do whatever you say." Boundaries, therapy. I want to be an aunt to Lily and Jake. At least an aunt. I'm not asking for more. "Conditions are simple," I said. "No crossing with Markover. No texts, no calls, no we just happened to be at the same bar. If he shows up at a family thing, you leave. If you feel wobbly, you leave. Do not lean on a married shoulder. Tell the kids the truth in your own words. And don't ask me to forget. Memory isn't a trash can. We will live next to it, I will," she whispered. We sat a while outside. Someone yelled at a string of lights that was supposed to turn itself on. When she left, I texted Paul, "Shekemi." "We talked, we're okay. Glad you're not alone," he wrote back. New Year's Eve, just as Lily sang loud and off-key. I envied her right not to care. At midnight, we made house rules. "We don't pretend everything's fine," I said. "We do what it takes to be okay. And if you see pictures of things adults shouldn't do, Lily said. You tell Mom right away. That's not a rule, I said. That's a superpower and it's already yours. Well oft. It felt like building something. In spring, the court stamped the agreement. Done. In March, Mark asked if we could grab dinner and talk for the kids. Talking yes, I said. Dinner? No different verbs. We met in a park. Neutral ground. He brought my favorite coffee like taste buds could build a bridge. Can we start over? Hesked. From where? I said. Before the tattoo or before iCloud? He looked away. He said the right words. I'm sorry. I messed up. Family, we have paperwork now, I said. We will follow it. That's our new kind of love. Not to wreck what's left when it's too late to build. Can you be softer sometimes? He asked. Sometimes, I said. He heard rarely. That was correct. I picked up odd skills. I carried 2 chargers so I never had to borrow one. I kept copies of everything that might matter. I learned to say no like a full sentence. I changed the Netflix password. That door had banged in the wind for years. Now it was shut. We moved the furniture. Not because we had to, because we could. Lily chose ALO throw. It's the color of safety, she said. Works for me. A magnetic calendar went on the fridge. Our guardrail. Lily at Dad's. Jake at Dad's. Mom plus book. Volunteer dentist PT. A 1-hour promise. When life spins, straight lines help you stand. One Saturday, Lily asked if Aunt Darcy could come to her gymnastics performance. Boundaries are great until they bump into what a child wants. Yes, I said, if you want that. I do, she said. But if she cries, she has to do it quietly. I'll tell her. Darcy sat at the end of the row. She cried quietly. After she handed Lily a small lightning bolt pendant. For bravery, she said. Can I wear it? Lily asked me. You can, I said. We don't erase. We choose what we carry. That night, Lily set the pendant next to her toothbrush. Lightning is when the truth hits, exactly, she said. I nodded. That Linny earned a spot on the fridge. In April, boxes labeled Garage Mark showed up on my porch. Inside, almost important things. A ball cap with someone else's logo. Old cables. A productivity book with the pages still stuck together. I slid the boxes by the trash bins and texted, They're here. Please pick up. He replied with a photo of Jake on a bike in front of his loft and a parking lot view. He was trying to be a scheduled dad. I could see that seeing is not the same as going back. That day, a postcard arrived from Paul. A photo from a charity run. Smiles and matching shirts inside. Keep going. Clichés work when everything else is complicated. School announced career day. Lily begged me to come. I brought markers, drew a small house, and a line that went up and down. My job is to notice when the house is in trouble, I said, and figure out how to keep it standing. Back row giggled. Front row stayed polite. A kid raised his hand. What if the house is in trouble because of the neighbor? Then we build a fence, I said. And a schedule. Lily watched me like I might either trip or lift off. Eco stability. No trip, no lift off. After class, Miss Carter said, Lily is very honest. Very resilient. She didn't get time to choose otherwise. I said we're working on giving her options. In summer, Paul asked us to help pack backpacks for students. We stacked notebooks, pencils, rulers. Lily checked every set. Fairness means you don't have to explain why yours is worse, she said. Paul winked. She pretended not to see. After unloading, we sat on the curb with paper cups of water. How are you now, Hest? I don't lose the cork crew anymore, I said. We both laughed. Sometimes grief takes off its heels and calls it a night. In fall, Darcy offered to pay for Lily's art class. Money was tighter for her. Long shadows from a canceled wedding. She still hustled. You don't have to, I said. Please, she said. We put it on the calendar. Pick up, cha-cha, drop off. Darcy. The first evening, I stood at the window with my phone like a lighthouse in its shirt. They came back on time. Lily showed me her drawing. A house, a staircase, 3 people on the steps. She wrote, "The house that didn't break." I stuck it on the fridge next to the Gold Honesty sticker. One weekend, we went to the shelter just to look at dogs. Lily picked 3 best friends, gave them names and backstories. A volunteer handed us a leash for a walk. 15 minutes of puppy joy. Enough for me to know. We're almost ready. Almost is when your heart says yes and your calendar says not yet. I'm not sad, Lily said in the car. I wrote down their names. When we get to not almost, we'll go back. I nodded. Sometimes being the adult is holding yes and not yet at the same time. The year didn't sit flat like graph paper. I tacked it like a spring. It uncoiled. It coiled back. We relearned eating, sleeping, arguing, making up. Something stayed the same. My alarm at 6:20, coffee a bit stronger than needed. The drive to school where Lily says, "Who called whom weird?" And we talk about how weird sometimes means brave. Saturdays in the park on squeaky swings. Sometimes we saw Paul. We waved. We kept going. He was like a mile marker by the road. Shows the edge. Doesn't tell you where to turn. On the anniversary of the wedding, that wasn't. I baked an apple pie. "Truth pie," Lily said. We ate on the porch and watched the neighbor's dog sprint like he got paid by the second. "Mom," Lily asked, "do you miss how it used to be?" I thought about it. Missing Elise like missing a pretty background on a video call. "You're still on the kitchen stool." "I miss simple," I said, not checking who is texting whom. "When both of you fit in my lap." Silence that didn't feel suspicious. "I don't miss the lie." "Then let's make simple," she said. "And maybe a dog." "Dogs are responsibility." I said we can handle it, she said. "We have a calendar. Hard to argue with a calendar. We'll look at dates." I said more honest than someday. Sometimes I ask myself if this story gets a proper ending. In movies, yes. In real life, no script. Too much improv. If you want an ideal finish, it would be me saying Paul and I found each other. We found ourselves instead. That was enough. My house stopped being a museum called How It Should Look. There's more air, more yellow throws, more things we actually use, less whispering, more plain sentences that hold up when you push on them. Darcy comes by sometimes. We keep the rules. We lay short boards over the gap and do not jump on them together. She takes one step, stop. I take one step, stop, we stand. We do not fall, Mark still writes long drafts. "How could you, the kids?" I've learned. The little blue dot blinks, disappears. He deletes half before sending. That counts as progress. Everyone lives with their own almost. Lily is growing. She carries her straightness through the rooms, her tidy habits, her jokes with more light thampity. We talk about honesty. It isn't always say everything. Sometimes it's don't talk against yourself. She nods. 7-year-olds sometimes understand more than they should. If that's the world, give them words for it. And yes, waistsplit iCloud. Not because I'm afraid of pictures. Because everyone deserves their own memory, their own boundaries, their own rules that don't snap when leaned on. I like to think this boring little fact will quietly save somebody's day someday. No applause, no mic. We're ending the year without big slogans. On the fridge, the calendar, the gold honesty sticker, the house that didn't break. In the hallway, sneakers that remember small wins. I lock the windows. I lock the doors. Lights off, Lily sleeps. Jake texts. Outside, the world pretends to be orderly. I pour a glass of water and sit on the edge of the couch. For the first time in a long time, I feel light. Not because life got easier, because it stopped being a lie. In a country where everything else changes faster than a DJ can cue the processional, maybe that's the only stable thing worth keeping. My phone buzzes. "Paul, how are you?" "Me. We're holding on." Paul knew it. Then a little lightning bolt. I smile. We have lightning bolts, stickers, a calendar, and people who don't knock down someone else's house to build their own. And if a small hand ever squeezes mine again and says, "Mom, we need to go now," I'll stand up, take that hand, and go because that's our superpower and it works. What do you think? Was I right to tell Paul? Let me know in the comments and subscribe for